Hello and welcome back to the channel. In my last team report video, I promised I'd be back with a VGC commentary video, and I thought I'd kick us off strong with everyone's favorite mascot, Pikachu. Now, of course, it's very popular, but you might be asking whether a frail, unevolved mon like this can hang in a dual-restricted format, and the answer is surprisingly yes. The rat may have subpar stats, but it has some extremely powerful tools going for it that can really enable a hyper-offensive team like this one. So first and foremost is Pikachu's G-Max move, Volt Crash, which paralyzes both of your opponents at once. This is obviously amazing speed control, and it also gives you really good odds of getting full paras, which in a dual-restricted meta can be absolutely game-breaking, because if you miss even a single turn with your powerful mon and your opponent gets to take their attack, that just completely changes the outcome a lot. It also has access to the Light Ball item, which doubles its offensive stats. Now, this is insanely powerful because Pikachu's base offensive stats are really bad, I think like 50 and 55 or something like that. But when you double the stat total rather than the base, like the huge power ability, I think I had in the Zoomerl video a while back, you can take a look at that for it. Just to give you an idea of how much power this is. This timid 252 special attack Pikachu only hits 102 without the item, so that's pretty weak. But then you double that to 204. For context, base 150 mons like Kyogre and Dialga only hit 202 with the same nature, which our Kyogre is, by the way. So this Pikachu is actually on par and sometimes a little stronger than actual restricteds in terms of offensive power. Granted, it's not as fast and bulky, but still, that's insane. And then, of course, it has the benefits of just being in the Raichu line, which, namely the Lightning Rod ability and Fake Out. So, and just a host of other support moves if you choose to run them. Those are the ones I went with. It's not as good at that role as its evolved form Raichu, but they're still just fantastic tools, and they allow it to not be just a one-dimensional max target where your opponent always knows what you're doing with it. So let's talk about the rest of the team and how they support this. I'm sorry this is the third video I've made this series about a Zacian Kyogre squad, but I really just cannot think of a better set of partners for Pikachu. Kyogre loves the speed control from Volt Crash and the Lightning Rod support to keep it safe from its weakness, and Zacian is just nice generic cleanup after Max is over. And it also enjoys having fast Fake Out, Helping Hand, and protection from Regieleki, which is one of basically only two relevant things in the format that can outspeed it and then kill it. Kyogre's Weather also has the nice fringe benefit of enabling Pikachu's Thunder out of Max, which is like an absolute truck with that Light Ball we just talked about. So, very nice partners for it. So the team obviously still has weaknesses, even that core of 3 does, and we need to shore those up. Pikachu is not very fast, so we can't depend on it solely for speed control, and this hyper-offensive team very much needs speed control. So basically that means is that we need Tailwind. I could have taken Whimsicott or Tornadus, those are the obvious choices, but I actually ended up settling on Talonflame for a few reasons, and I'm really happy with it. The first is that Pikachu's terrible bulk means it can go down to a single Rillaboom Grassy Glide. I think it needs Seed for that, but even while it's maxed, which is crazy. And that's doubly bad on a Kyogre team who is also going down to Grassy Glide if it doesn't max. So Talonflame helps deal with this by offering us Quick Guard. Also helps us deal with pesky Fake Outs, which can stop things like Kyogre from doing their job. It also outspeeds Whimsicott, so a Helping Hand dual Wing Beat, which is given priority by Gale Wings, can get around a Focus Sash and kill it before it gets its Tailwind up. And if you can deny Tailwind against a hyper-offensive fragile team and put up your own, you're really golden because they generally don't have the bulk to take your attacks when you attack first. And then finally, there's also that super fast Will-O-Wisp to cripple physical attackers. Even some Zacians are not as fast as Talonflame, and they especially weren't back when this video was recorded. So yeah, it can do good work. Other Tailwind setters just can't match that utility. So as for the other two, a little less proud of these, but they still definitely do their job. Thunderous provides us a physical max target, and that can also provide alternate means of speed control, which is Airstream. It's especially helpful in the weather matchups. And then Amoonguss is our Trick Room answer that also checks Gastrodon with that Energy Ball. So to be honest, I kind of just hinted at it. This team was built earlier in the meta, and these two choices are probably a bit outdated. If I were to rebuild it, I'd probably have gone with a different Trick Room answer, since many of these Trick Room teams now run Alchemy or Finny that protect from sleep with their abilities. And Thunderous would probably benefit more from Life Orb than AV when we're going hyper-offensive like this. Pikachu and Thundy can also both access Grass Knot, so I mean Gastrodon isn't even a problem necessarily there either, so that's just another argument for potentially removing Amoonguss. Still, these two do their job pretty well. They give us a nice defensive core here, and they're totally functional even in the modern meta. So I would still say give this rental a whirl if you are a fan of Pikachu. Anyway, as per usual, I have rambled on for long enough, so let's jump into some games. So just a heads up, these games were recorded about a month ago, so I'm kind of enjoying them fresh the same as you are. So yeah, let's hop in and see how I did back then. Okay, so I don't remember these matches at all, so this will be interesting to see how I handled this like a month ago. We're up against some hyper offense rain by the looks of it. And we're starting with Pikachu and Talonflame. I think this makes sense. We can match their Tailwind and actually use that priority flying moves to get rid of Whimsicott. If we suspect a Sash, we can go with that, helping him dual Wing Beats. That'll be really good. And then it looks like I'm having trouble deciding about what's in the back. A lot of shuffling here, actually. How do I go about this? Definitely Talonflame. Okay, so we go with the Talonflame Kyogre lead. This is actually really strong too. I mean, it's the same as like Tornadus, right? You get the Tailwind plus Water Spout, but we can potentially Tailwind plus kill Regieleki. We're just gonna have to see how I handle this. To be perfectly honest, this is very strange going into this like blind to my own play. Okay, how does my opponent lead? Calyrex and Whimsicott. Okay, so that's actually I remember this now. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Previously, like pre-series 12, the meta was to put a Life Orb on your Calyrex and probably Sash or Eject or something on Whim. But these days, and it was like this a month ago, it's been this way for a while now. Calyrex is the primary Sash. So what I go for here is a big read. We max Airstream into the Whimsicott. That's a priority Airstream, which is a really cool use of Talonflame's Gale Wings ability. Yeah, so we're gonna see how this one goes. This is basically just a massive gamble, right? Because if they have the Sash on the Whim, then they just get the Tailwind and then blast us. But if we don't, then we get the kill, and then Kyogre is faster than Calyrex, which is massive. Okay, max Airstream goes into the Whimsicott. Awesome. And it's taken down in a one-hit KO. That's amazing. So now with our timid Kyogre, we are at +1, and unless it's a Scarf Cali or something along those lines, we should be faster than it, and we can just hit it with a single target Water Spout. Yeah, there we go. And brought down the Sash, right? So the read was correct. Now, the issue is that we're still going to take this Astral, because that just seems they didn't use Protect. And, wow, that hurts. Maybe it's Specs even? It's kind of crazy damage. The crit on Talonflame really doesn't feel good, but, you know, we're still ahead in this case, so I think that's absolutely a great turn one for us. Let's see what they go with here. Taken a while to choose their God, I really think Talonflame should be used more. I think it actually did score a second place or third place finish at the Vancouver Regionals recently, so that's something. Okay, Regieleki. So I'm going for this Airstream into Calyrex. That makes sense, but for Kyogre, I could get the +2 to outspeed it, but if they max, a half health Water Spout is not OHKOing Regieleki. So the play I went for here was to swap into Pikachu. It's arguable whether that was actually worth it or not, because you know, you'd still do massive damage into it, and we have the Sash on Talonflame to clean up whatever's left on it. But yeah, they are going ahead and maxing here. And it's got to be the Regieleki. There's no way you'd max your 1 HP Calyrex, right? Yeah. So now we have to hope that they take the bait and they went for an electric move, because if we can suck it up with Lightning Rod, that would be fantastic. Really show off Pikachu's utility here. We get our Airstream, dead Calyrex. Fantastic. Okay, they go for Airstream. Okay, that's fair. So, I mean, they had to have seen the Pikachu in team preview. It's something that you don't really ignore, right? So, we at least take it. So that means that we have the Lightning Rod pressure still, right? And Fake Out pressure on top of that, because this is Pikachu's first turn on the field. So that just means that they cannot use their big max lightning that they max their electric for. So I think that's like, you can just see like the kind of pressure that Lightning Rod puts on. Obviously, Raichu is better at that job than Pikachu, but like the fact that you get that utility on top of the offensive stuff that I talked about in the intro, it's pretty good. Man, they're taking a long time to choose all their mons, and they only have one left, right? So I don't think they're behind enough to rage quit at this point, though. Like, you still have this Elecki that you can stack your Stream Boost with. Gotta be their Kyogre in that too, I would think. Come on. Yeah, there's the Kyogre. Okay. So it's a little difficult here. You obviously Airstream with Talonflame, like Max Guard isn't going to do anything, and even Tailwind isn't going to let our mons in the back outspeed Elecki that has an Airstream behind it, right? So I think we, yeah, looks like we just go for Fake Out here. Because Elecki outspeeds Pikachu, so at the respective +1s, right? So we can just take it out. There's no reason for it to attack into the Talonflame. Now, granted, we're really hoping for no Protective Kyogre, and there is no Protective Kyogre. So it might have been Scarf, or it might have been just them not knowing. Right, out, and big Airstream into Ogre. It's not going to kill it, but that neuters its Water Spouts from this point forward. So still feeling pretty good about this one. Okay, Lightning? Really? Okay, well, we'll take that. Awesome. Yeah, so I guess either they were predicting a switch out from Pikachu, which, you know, it would make a lot of sense, right? I want to preserve my Lightning Rod. Or they just kind of didn't know what was happening here. But at this point, we can just hit the Tailwind. We are faster than the Elecki just from all the Airstream boosts. Proceed. There's no reason not to just Thunder the Kyogre. Like, the worst case scenario, they protect it here. Oh, there's the forfeit. Alright, well, good game to my opponent. We can jump into some more games with Pikachu. Hopefully see it in this max form. Okay, what do we got here? Dual Weather. All right, I think that was uncommon back then, and it's definitely uncommon now, but it's had a few placements. The really weird thing here, though, is the Comfy, and that's really scary, because it can proc a weakness policy on Kyogre or Groudon with that Giga Drain with the +3 priority on Triage? So that's pretty crazy. Not really sure what I would go into this. There's also the danger of Trick Room on Comfy, which is a bit rough if you're going for Tailwind, but at some point you kind of just have to take that risk. It seems like a good game for Pikachu, though, because you can always pivot out, and you could even go for a, if they open with Groudon, we can like swap in Kyogre and get a Max Geyser that's boosted by the Rain and our Light Bulb. So Talonflame plus Pikachu is a pretty good lead here. And then you just kind of just bring your Restrictors in the back. You've got to bring Kyogre to this, right? Because if they do choose to go for the Sun, then you need to have some way of exerting weather control, especially with that Venusaur. It's going to be problematic with Chlorophyll as its own speed control. But with our Tailwind, that just means that Zacian outspeeds Venusaur and can just, you know, blast it with one hit. There's the other thing is that Comfey usually goes for that physical defensive spread, so if they do choose to lead with it, we can probably just blast it with Vault Crash. And like I was saying, it's restricted levels of power. It is so strong. And they're going with Comfey Charizard, which is really bizarre. I think we just kill the Comfey. I feel like that Zard has got to switch out. That's that would just be silly. I'm realizing now that my camera covers the moves. I might be looking for a different setup for future videos, but this is fine. I can just tell you all what's going on. The Vault Crash into the Comfey absolutely makes sense here. Like, there's no way you keep the Charizard in. We know they have a Groudon in the back, so the ground switch seems really obvious too. You could protect it, but the protect is still gonna hurt like hell. Guess we'll see how they play this one out. Thinking real hard about it. They're maxing. It's gotta, I mean, it has to be the Charizard. No one maxes their Comfey. So This is such a strange experience to see these games behind, but or like a month later. And of course, we max ours, so we get to see the big Pikachu. I'm a little upset I didn't save the audio on these things. The big. But you know, imagine it or whatever. God, that thing is chunky. All right, so. I mean, we have the Tailwind, so we're going to go first anyway, right? And the worst case scenario is that we paralyze and have Tailwind here. And they go for Draining Pits. I guess that makes sense because they break our Tail Wings, but it's still silly because we're faster anyway, right? So who cares? Yeah, Tailwind goes up just the same. I mean, maybe they did know about our Sash, right? But Vault Crash into the Comfey. I mean, I guess I could have just gone Brain Dead and attacked the Charizard, but... get the double paralyze as like that's the big point. Lumberry Charizard, you know, that's not uncommon. People used to do that a lot more than they do now. Not really in this format though, to be honest. But Grimmsnarl is scary. But see, now we have Tailwind, and so we're still faster than that Zard. It is +1, and we're just gonna paralyze it again this turn. So it's pretty obvious here. We're just gonna bring in Kyogre, right? We get the big spread damage. And so there is the danger of them bringing in a Weather Setter to mess with us here a little bit. But Charizard is still just in danger of the G-Max Vault Crash, right? So we can just be really brain dead here and spout. And you gotta just Vault Crash the Zard, right? Yeah, it's gonna go down here. They can Max Guard, I guess, but you're still pinned with the Tailwind. You can't get any more speed control without attacking. Comfey is not going to get Trick Room up since it's just going to be spouted. I think even if they swapped in the Zard, or they swapped in Groudon into Zard's spot, it would still kill with Spout. Okay, Max Guard, fine, fair enough. And Giga Drain. So like the Giga Drain makes sense with the Kyogre and the Groudon, but it makes no sense to have Draining Pits too. Like, why would you have 2 attacking moves on Comfey? Like, there's so much good support it can do. Like, I guess it weakens our Water Spouts now, so that's a thing, but... Vault Crash into Max Guard, it's fine. We still get 1 more Vault Crash here. Unless they go for a double Max Guard, we're still going to get that off, and we still have the speed control after all this, so... Alright, Incineroar is in here. So that complicates things because of the fake out, right? They can fake out Kyogre, that's the obvious play, but it means that you're really banking on Vault Crash killing Zard here, but I feel like it's got to, right? Like, you know, I remember being really nervous about this when I played this game. Because basically what this turn comes down to is if you are guaranteed to kill Zard with the Vault Crash, then there's no reason not to click Spout, because they can fake it out and then whatever. You still have the speed control, you still have the paras, like you still kill the Zard, and basically like you can just spout and sit on the next turn. Like, maybe you gotta swap Kyogre out for a turn or whatever. But the like if you don't get that Oko, then it's a big problem, right? But I feel like at the time, like it surprised me when I was making this video how strong Pikachu actually is. So yeah, it took me way down to the timer to actually calc that and decide that I was actually gonna go for this play. But it is always the play in this scenario. And yeah, see, they're swapping out the Incin because they want to preserve that fake out pressure. And they are trying to bait out a Protect on Kyogre. But, you know, we're just going to blast it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, let's see this Vault Crash into Zard. Dead. Easy. Yeah. 204 special attack. Super effective. Absolutely gone. And you get to paralyze a Groudon, which is something you just don't see very often, so that's pretty neat. And you know, I know it's in the sun, but this is a single target full health water spot. No, it's not full health, but still very, very high health. Like, yeah, that Groudon, not long for this world. And like at this point, Pikachu has absolutely done its job. Like, they do have the fake out pressure here. If they're gonna keep playing it out, then the play is always to for them to fake out something. but Pikachu has Surf here. I know it's not going to do much in the sun, but super effective against that very low health Groudon. It should do it. So the play here is just to protect and Surf. But yeah, battle is cancelled. Yeah, fun one with Pikachu. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so what do we have for this game? This is pretty bog standard rain, actually. So Tornogre. You know, I'm pretty sure this is a bad, like, Tornogre is a rough matchup for Pikachu, because you have the speed tie with Kyogre, right? So you really don't want to bank everything on on winning that speed tie if they can just match your Tailwind and spout you. And, like, unlike Whimsicott, Talonflame has no way to just neutralize Tornadus. Like, the Airstream is going to kill it, and it might have a Sash even that could anyway with Helping Hand, right? So I believe this is pretty much what we're bringing Thundurus around for. I mean, you know, there obviously Thundurus has other uses, right? But it does very well into rain, especially this AV one. Like, nowadays, Life Orb is much more the play, but AV Thundy does very nicely into, like, traditional old Tornogre squads. So we go with that next to Talonflame because you do need to match speed control here. Thundurus is, like, a huge part of its strength is stacking these Airstream boosts and giving the speed control to your big restricteds next to it, like Kyogre and Zacian. So if you don't have the Tailwind, then you're at a huge disadvantage. So we bring Talonflame. That's also really good because, you know, you got the Will-O-Wisp for their big physical attackers for Lando and Zacian, and I can't remember if they had any priority attackers. I don't think they did because they had Kartana over Burm. But yeah, just the Wisp, the Tailwind, it's the right play. And yeah, they go very predictably with Tornogre, which, you know, makes sense. That covers the Pikachu play pretty well, especially if they're Scarfed, which is always a possibility. Okay, so how did we go about this? I think just we go with, like, the safe play is just a Tailwind and Airstream, right? Into the Kyogre to stop a powerful spout. Looks like that's what I'm going with here. Yeah. All right. So cool. Let's see how they react to it. Our max will of course be first. So if they max, then we'll see that after ours. And that's kind of why people did run AV Thundy back in the day, and I guess some people probably still do. But the idea is that you live a max Geyser from Kyogre, right? Which if we do run the new standard of Life Orb, you can just get blasted. But yeah, it's a different style of playing, but they don't max. They just choose to protect. So it's a bit annoying. We do waste a max turn, but we also cement speed control here. Because we're going to have our Tailwind up. Talonflame has its Gale Wings, and it's faster than Torn. So yeah, we 100% get it up. There's no way they can haunt us or anything like that. So with 2 Tailwinds plus the Airstream boost, we are of course faster, and we can continue to spread these boosts around now if we can find the right time to swap out Talonflame. So yeah, it looks like I swapped Talonflame out to Kyogre, which makes sense, right? Because you preserve the Gale Wings, preserve the Focus Sash, and you can start getting speed boosts on these water spouts. Like, Kyogre will probably take a hit, but I would expect them not to Thunder the Talonflame. Most likely go for the spout to damage Thundurus as well. Man, so that's the downside though, right? With this AV is, like, with Life Orb, we absolutely would have picked up that KO, whereas Kyogre gets to do something now. Probably Origin Pulse if I had to guess. I guess we'll see. Icy Wind on. Ooh, okay, so Torn goes for Icy Wind, misses Kyogre, which is massive for us, and it hits Thundy, which will take that gift every day because he's still at +1. And on top of that, he gets the Defiant boost, which is not, like, watered down by an Intimidate like it usually is. Scald, Kyogre gets the burn. Okay, so that's really annoying, but we'll take that for the RNG of Icy Wind missing Kyogre, because it's still effectively neutral, right? And now you can just stack even more Airstream boosts. Kyogre and Thundy will both be faster than their Torn, so you pretty much get a double KO unless they protect here. And this is not dual weather like the last team, so they have no way to stop the rain that gives us all this power here. And they didn't even touch our Kyogre, so these are full power water spouts that are coming out. And no protects. Okay, so this is just going to be a double KO as far as I can see. Yeah, Kyogre picks it up. So yeah, I mean, like, so obviously the centerpiece of this video was Pikachu, but there have to be alternate modes. Every mon has big weaknesses, and this maybe not necessarily big. Pikachu definitely has some big weaknesses. So this is just one of those things where I wanted to show that there are games where you know, you got to show the other modes, and as long as you can cover the weaknesses of like your big gimmick or whatever, then that's kind of how you fill out the rest of your slots most of the time. So here they bring out Lando and Zacian, and that'll be another nice little Defiant proc right there. So Thundy will be at +3 attack and burn, so effectively +1, and that's fine. So the play here is just to attack. Like, Spout may not kill Zacian depending on how bulky it is, but it really doesn't matter at this point. Spout should always Oko Lando, even if they max it. That is something to consider. We only have one more turn at Tailwind, but the Airstream boosts are enough anyway at this point. Yeah, they do still have their max, but I think they just saved it too late, and maxing their Kyogre was the play here, because obviously they can't max their Zacian, and Lando even maxed, unless it's AV, it should just die to a Water Spout, like full power Water Spout in the rain, Mystic Water, all that jazz. Like, if it's AV, we may have some problems, but don't forget that we still have our Talonflame in the back. We preserve that, so and it still has its Gale Wings intact too. So even if they get an Airstream boost up here, preserved by and keep themselves alive with Assault Vest, we can still set Tailwind and then proceed to have our boosted Thundy and the Zacian still sitting completely pretty in the back to just sweep through. So this game should be about over, but we'll see. They're still going for it for sure. So protect Zacian, that makes sense, but it's just kind of moment of truth here. Does this Lando survive the Water Spout? And I really just can't see it happening. Boom. Dead. Yep, there it is. Okay. Yeah, and that's just gonna be game right there, because now you get the single target Water Spout on Zacian, and that always kills. I don't think you can literally make a Zacian that lives that. So yeah, it's really cool to see that the team can cover Pikachu's weaknesses when it's necessary. I'm gonna assume it's a forfeit at this point, but we'll wait it out to see if we get to see the animations. Yeah, there it is. All right, good game. I think we have time for one more in this video. Okay, so for this one, I forgot to hit record until after team preview, but this is the infamous, less widely used now, but at the time very infamous Rinya's son. So for those who aren't familiar with that, that would be Zacian, Groudon, Charizard, Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, and Gastrodon. It won. It like was dominating regionals for a good while, and nowadays it's kind of relegated. Like, other Sun archetypes have taken over, but still a very solid team, still scary. And it was like the Sun archetype at the time. So we can see how the team deals with that. I chose to go with Thundy and Zacian with Kyogre and Amoonguss in the back here. So once again, like another matchup where you probably want to leave Pikachu at home. Double ground does not fare well for your big electric type, right? So this is a game where Amoonguss can shine potentially because of the Gastrodon. So we're just going hard hyper offense here. Thundy outspeeds Zard, so it stands to reason that they would not want to just max it in front of a big electric type that can Oko it. I'm actually not sure if AV Okos Zard, but it's something that they really have to think about. I don't know that their Wildfire would Oko Thundy back either when we got AV on. So this play is a little aggressive on my end, but it is a read. The thing is that because we don't have Intimidate here, this team just doesn't have Intimidate flat out. Groudon threatens an Oko on Zacian, even with spread damage. It's just that strong with the super effective Precipice Blades. So we are maxing. We're going to see if they do too. Zard is, of course, a 10 or I feel 11 points slower than Thundy base points. So we will see it after this point. Thundy is honestly just great into both weathers, but it looks like they are maxing the Zard. We're going to have to see what they go with. It could be a max guard. It could be quite a read, honestly. It'd be a bad one in this case for them, but we'll see. Wondering, should I start like fast forwarding through Dynamax animations at some point? Like, seems like it might be worth it. I didn't realize how long they were until quite a while, and they do go for the max guard. That could not have started better for us. Okay, so yeah, little too fun my part taking this game. I chose these to record also like back a month ago, so I had to like rewatch and see like why did I choose these? And yeah, that's a crit. That's huge. I think we still take this KO even without that crit, but it's nice to cement it. So they're in a bad spot now. If we didn't already have speed control, we absolutely do now. And we have weather control because that Groudon is dead. Now they do have the option for Gastrodon, which could be big. And speak of the devil, there it is. I feel like you want to save that, but whatever else they have in the back is probably a Zacian, and maybe you don't want to just expose it here. But yeah, it looks like so I go for the Play Rough into Gastro and the Airstream into Gastro. So this is also very risky, right? Because a lot of these Gastros carry Protect. But the idea here is that, you know, of course, I have Kyogre in the back, which will absolutely demolish a Charizard when I have weather control. So just getting rid of the big Kyogre check is huge. And yeah, no Protect here. I'd imagine that they're kind of going for that Hail Mary play, is that they expect me to hit the Zard with a Lightning, especially since it just not discarded. But they were most likely going for a Yawn, which, you know, makes some amount of sense because Thundurus can't protect itself from sleep using its own terrain. Yeah, Wildfire goes into Zacian. That obviously not great to lose your Zacian, but that's fine. It's too late at this point, especially because we have one more turn of max left on Thundurus, right? So what we can do here is, and I'm trying to, like, I know myself. I'm pretty sure that's what I do. Bring out Kyogre, Airstream onto the other slot to guarantee that the Airstream goes up, and then you can just start blasting with Water Spouts. They didn't go for a single Airstream either, which is really big. If they had Airstreamed even once with Charizard, then we'd be in a much worse position because we don't have enough max turns left to get Kyogre faster than it. But at this point, it should be pretty sealed up. You just Airstream the Zacian. Yeah, because Water Spout will definitely kill a max Charizard. Yeah, no Protects either. And honestly, respect to my opponent for playing it out. Like, especially in this kind of format where it's just so high powered, if you mess up a turn one like that catastrophically, there's not a lot you can do. So you should always try to play it out. But yeah, that's a big double KO. I love this fish. Whales aren't fish, but you know. I think that about wraps it up. Yeah, so we got to see Pikachu in the games where it could do well, and then we got to see the alternative mode in the games where it could not. Yeah, thanks for watching with me. Thanks for watching, everyone. We're back to business as usual with these videos, so the rental is available here at the beginning of the video and in the description, where you'll also find the paste if you'd like to play with it on Showdown. I'm putting the finishing touches on my next team. It's spoilers, going to be starring Reshiram and Slowbro, so you know, keep an eye out for that. Until next time.